It was supposed to be just another Saturday afternoon at Willow Creek Park. Kids running around, parents chatting on benches, the smell of hot dogs drifting from a food cart. And right in the middle of it all was little Aria Johnson, 7 years old, riding her brand new lavender bicycle like it was a crown jewel. She had just learned to balance without training wheels, and every wobbly but victorious turn made her beam with pride. Her braids bounced as she pedaled her yellow shirt, catching the sunlight. She wasn't thinking about anything except how good it felt to finally belong on that path with the other kids. Then her front tire brushed the polished boot of a man sitting alone on a bench. Sheriff Conrad Blake, 52 years old, uniform, sharp badge glinting like a warning sign. He lowered his newspaper with the slow arrogance of somebody who thought time itself should stop for him. "Watch where you're going, kid," he muttered, his eyes narrowing. Arya scrambled off the bike, small hands fumbling with the handlebars. "I'm sorry, sir," she whispered, voice trembling. Blake stood up, 6 feet of authority towering over her. He looked at her dark skin, at the way she shook like a leaf, and something mean twisted across his face. Sorry doesn't mean much when you don't know your place. And before anyone could process what was happening, his hand whipped across her cheek. The slap cracked like a gunshot in the quiet park. Aria stumbled, knees scraping the pavement, tears bursting free. From across the lot, her mother Dana dropped her car keys. For a split second, she couldn't breathe. Rage surged so hot she wanted to claw his eyes out, make him feel even a fraction of the pain he'd just put on her little girl. But the sight of his badge froze her. She'd lived long enough to know how quickly a black mother fighting back could be twisted into the villain. So instead, Dana walked forward slowly, like her legs were made of bricks, scooped her sobbing daughter into her arms and whispered comfort while the sheriff brushed off his uniform as if swatting a fly. "Maybe next time you'll teach her some respect," he said smugly before striding toward the parking lot. What he didn't realize was that a teenager on the basketball court had caught the whole thing on video. Devin Cruz, 17, phone shaking in his hands, stared at the screen, unable to believe what he'd just captured. When Aria's father, Marcus Johnson, arrived minutes later, still in uniform from his own shift as deputy chief in the neighboring county, he saw the red handprint on his daughter's cheek. For one terrifying moment, he forgot the badge on his chest and just saw red. He wanted to charge across the park, grab Blake by the throat, and make him pay. But 20 years of law enforcement told him that one wrong move could cost him everything. So he did the hardest thing he'd ever done. He pulled out his phone, took photos of Aria's face, the bent bicycle, the scattered streamers. Evidence. Proof. Because he knew men like Conrad Blake only feared one thing: exposure. But the official report filed that evening: minor bicycle accident. No injuries. The system had already chosen its side. That night, Marcus sat at the kitchen table, medical notes from the ER spread in front of him, his badge lying heavy beside them. He'd always believed the system worked if good cops fought hard enough. But staring at his daughter's bruised face, that faith cracked. Dana, meanwhile, couldn't sleep. She scrolled through social media, where Devin's shaky video had already gone viral. Thousands of comments, half of them dismissive. Looks like an accident. Race card again. Where were the parents? Each one felt like another slap across Aria's cheek. But buried deep in the thread were voices saying, "We see you, stay strong, don't give up." The next morning, Donna marched to the basketball court and found Devin shooting hoops. "I need the original file," she said, no small talk, no hesitation. Devin glanced around nervously. "My mom says we shouldn't get involved. We can't afford enemies in the sheriff's department." Dana stepped closer, eyes fierce. "That man struck my 7-year-old daughter. If it were your little sister, would you want people to stay out of it?" The baker's shoulders sagged. He pulled out his phone. "I'll send it, but please, don't tell anyone it came from me." The video in full quality was damning. You could see Blake step toward Aria, the calculated swing of his arm, hear him growl the words, "You don't belong here." Dana uploaded it with one caption: "This is what Sheriff Conrad Blake did to my child. Watch and judge for yourself. Hashtag justice for Aria." The explosion was immediate. Interviews, requests, messages of support, but also threats. Anonymous accounts saying she was unfit to be a mother, that her daughter deserved it. Dana's hands shook as she read them, but her resolve hardened. Blake cornered, doubled down. He went on local news in full dress uniform, medals polished. I've served this town for 26 years, he declared. A child lost control of her bike and collided with me. I tried to help. It's unfortunate, but accidents happen. His voice was smooth, his expression steady, but behind his eyes flickered panic. That evening, he made a patrol past the Johnson's house, slowing his cruiser, staring directly at Dana watering flowers. She froze, then bolted inside. Marcus, he's trying to scare us, she said, locking the door with trembling hands. Marcus stood at the window, jaw tight. Then maybe it's time we stop playing by the rules. He spent the next day pulling old files, complaints buried for years. 23 different people had once dared to speak up about Blake. Traffic stops turned violent. Witnesses intimidated. Stories changed overnight, all swept under the rug. Marcus laid the stack on the kitchen table. He's been hurting people for decades. Aria wasn't the first. She's just the first caught on camera. The town council meeting was standing room only. Folding chairs packed with neighbors, cameras lining the walls. Blake entered like he owned the place, flanked by his lawyer and 3 loyal officers. His defense paraded witnesses claiming they saw nothing but an accident. Blake himself took the mic, voice booming. This is what happens when social media replaces facts. I bled for this town, and now I'm crucified because a family wants attention. Dana rose slowly, Aria on her hip. She turned her daughter's face toward the crowd, still faintly bruised. Gasps echoed. 3 weeks ago, Dana said, voice steady, this man told my daughter she didn't belong here. Then he struck her hard enough to leave a mark that lasted days. He says it was an accident. He says we want attention. All I want is for my child to be safe. The room stirred, some cheering, others scoffing. Blake smirked, ready to dismiss her. That's when Marcus stepped forward, folder in hand. You want facts? He said, voice cutting the noise like glass. He spread complaint after complaint across the council table. Sarah Chen, 2019, excessive force. Marcus Thompson, 2020, 16 years old, threatened into silence. Jennifer Walsh, 2021, harassed until she withdrew her report. With each name, Blake's face darkened. His lawyer sputtered. Marcus leaned in, eyes like steel. 23 families silenced. How many more that never filed? This man used his badge like a weapon. And it ends tonight. Silence blanketed the room. Then Aria's tiny voice reached the microphone. He scared me, she said. I just wanted to ride my bike. Blake's composure shattered. He leapt up, shouting, enough, I gave my life to this town. And now you're destroying me over some kid who doesn't know her place. The words hung heavy, poisonous. The council chair slammed her gavel. Sheriff Blake, you are suspended pending full investigation. His career crumbled right there. Within months, the trial followed assault on a minor abuse of authority, obstruction of justice. Guilty, badge stripped, pension gone, sentenced to prison. Meanwhile, the park changed. Families reclaimed it. Kids laughed without fear. Aria rode her lavender bike in wide circles, her parents watching from the bench, pride replacing pain. Look, Daddy, she shouted, pedaling fast. Marcus smiled, hand clasping Dana's. For the first time in weeks, peace settled over them. But as the sun set and Aria called, can we come back tomorrow, the question hung heavier than it sounded. Because yes, she deserved joy, safety, belonging. But how many other children in other towns still faced men like Blake? How many mothers still swallowed rage out of fear? That's the part I can't shake. Justice was served here. But do you believe the system really changes? Or does it only bend when the world is watching? Tell me in the comments, have you seen something like this in your own community? Do you think justice came soon enough, or was it too late? And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you'll never miss a story that asks the questions we all need to face.